Good morning. How's everybody today? I think this year 2020 is appropriate. 2020 vision about the future. I'd like to just welcome all of our out-of-towners, and I'd like you to raise your hand if you are from out of town. Very good. Thank you for being here. Today I want to reflect on what we have here in Ridgecrest. I want to acknowledge the opportunity we have in front of us, talk about that a little bit. Then I want to discuss our future. And it's going to be an interactive presentation. So if you haven't downloaded the app on your iPhone or your smartphone, please do so. And then go to the event guide page. Scroll down to view all sessions. Select session 1, then scroll to live polls. Now the live polls are open for session 1, so they don't close until about 10 o'clock. But I'd like you to do the polling as we go through my presentation because there's some questions I'd like to talk about. But how long I'm up here depends on how fast you vote. Okay? We are ahead of schedule, so I can blame you if I run over. So please answer quickly. Okay, Ridgecrest is a gem in the middle of the Mojave Desert. We're miles from nowhere and 2 miles from everywhere, or 2 hours from everywhere. It's the location of the Secret City, the U.S. Navy's premier weapons laboratory and test ranges in China Lake. It's the place where Navy scientists and engineers and our military develop new weapon systems and test them. It exhibits 1.1 million acres. It's also the home of the Big and Little Petroglyph Canyons, which is the U.S. Historic Monument, landmark. 2 principal landforms which are found that have major accumulations of Paleo-Indian rock art. Ridgecrest dates to pre-World War II. China Lake dates to 1943 during the war. So we have a rich history here locally and with the Navy in the high desert. It offers stunning views of the Sierra Nevada mountains, spectacular sunrises and sunsets, each and every day. We have no traffic, rush hour. We have a 5-minute rush hour, both in the morning and in the afternoon. We have over 300 sunny days a year. Annual wildflower blooms that attract hundreds of visitors. Our seasons are fantastic. We have mild winters, bright springs, blazing hot summers, and amazingly pleasant falls. Ridgecrest is the gateway to the scenic beauty of the Eastern Sierra. It's hiking, it's camping, it's rock climbing, skiing, fishing, mountain biking. It's the home of the annual Petroglyph Festival. And it's the one place you'll see a 1,000 flag parade. It hosts ultra marathons, off-roading sports, spelunking, photography, wildflower viewing excursions. Our schools are competitive in all sports, including robotics. They have high K through 12 academic achievements, and each year our schools place kids in top universities in our country. Cerro Coastal College offers a local opportunity for higher education. We are very fortunate to live in Ridgecrest. When the desert majestic sunsets turn to the night skies, there are spectacular stargazing where planets, stars, galaxies, satellites, and shooting stars can all be seen with the naked eye. Death Valley is right next door, and next to it is Star Wars Canyon, where a place to go watch our Navy and Air Force fighter pilots practice their tactics and their flying skills. So we have a wonderful place to live with great activities and natural assets. We also have a friendly community that's strong in employment, a strong employment base. One of our employees, the Navy, brings in over $500 million annually in its payroll. We have great schools and great health care. This is our home. It's a region where thousands of people come and visit and play annually. We are on the move. Okay, so now I've got a few questions for you. And again, I'd like you to just kind of go with me as you go to the questions and answer them quickly, but just kind of go and pace with me. If you do get behind, you take more time, the polling is open till 10 o'clock, the end of session 1, so just be aware. So the first question I have is, and for, out-of-towners, please visit a poll here too, but if the question doesn't apply to you as an out-of-towner, please just hang with us. And but anyways, let's see your results. Okay. China Lake is a huge contributor to our national security. And we had some big earthquakes you've already heard about this last summer. Ridgecrest is now renowned nationally and around the world. The name is pretty familiar with people. Early on, this was regarded as a place where big earthquakes occur, but nothing happened. Well, I think the Navy begged to differ with that. China Lake Weapons Station was seriously damaged during the earthquake to the estimate of $4 billion. In late 2019, at the request of the Navy and the Department of Defense, the Congress authorized and appropriated $3 billion to start the reconstruction of China Lake. The Navy kicked off this effort this week by hosting an industry government day, where over 600 contractors, primes and subcontractors came to hear about the rework that had to be done or that's being planned, and then also to match up so they can understand what the local resources are and the regional resources are that's going to help with the reconstruction. So it's a great event. The whole afternoon, a lot of primes and a lot of the subcontractors exchanged cards, talked to each other about their capabilities, and as the primes build their proposals over the next few months, they'll be beginning with some of those subcontractors, both local and in the region, to understand how to get that work done. It's going to take a good number of years to complete the reconstruction, but when it's done, China Lake will be the most modern DoD laboratory in the nation. I argue that it'll probably be the most modern DoD laboratory in the federal government. But what does this mean to Ridgecrest? The decision to quickly rebuild China Lake, it only took a few months for Congress to act, is a very strong statement about its importance to the national security of our country. Ridgecrest is the home to the majority of the China Lake workforce. Consequently, it plays an important role in supporting that mission. The $4 billion investment will make China Lake whole again, but it will also have a huge impact on the city. There will be transient workforce that comes to town for a number of years. They will stay in our hotels, they will eat in our restaurants, they will sleep in our homes, they will buy from our stores. There will be a bump in our economy. But I have to ask, will it be a temporary bump or a permanent bump? Our challenge is to ensure that the bump is not lasting and not fleeting, but persists. We cannot let the construction happen without taking deliberate steps to ensure that Ridgecrest is also improved. It's in the interest of the Navy. Approaching the reconstruction with a motivation towards increasing both the Navy and the Ridgecrest community's well-being should be the spirit of rebuilding China Lake. And it doesn't have to cost more money. There are numerous discretionary decisions that can be made that can help the community also. It means working with the Navy and the contractors and helping them succeed by making the job easier. So yes, we have a huge opportunity, but it's to realize that it's going to take a lot of work. Not just by the city or by the Navy, but by all of us. By each and every retailer, by the realtors, by everyone who have a stake in the commerce of this town, in this region. So Ridgecrest, I'm confident we can rebuild China Lake, but as we do, I have to ask, where are we going? It's imperative that we start a serious dialogue in our community about what we want to be as a community. The quality of life in Ridgecrest and Indian Wells Valley is critical to us all, especially to our major employers, the Navy, the hospital, our schools, all of us. Even before the earthquakes, we were starting to build. Look at the new homes that are going on, look at the new stores that are rising. Peggy talked about that a little bit. So we were already on the move, but now it's even more imperative. We need to start this dialogue, and we need to continue to have this dialogue until we really understand what we're about. So I have some questions for you that you're going to answer. I want to know, what do we want to be known as? I want to know, what does it mean to live here? What do you want? I want to understand, what do we need in our community? And I want you to tell me. Again, I have some questions for you, so I'll go through them, and I hope that your app is now working. So we'll switch it out. So please tell me if you're satisfied with the current state of Ridgecrest. So we're having a little bit of a bandwidth issue, so the survey is not refreshing as fast as it should. So what we'll do is later on in the presentation, maybe go over some of the results during one of the break. So please just go to this particular poll and answer the question, log out, and then tell me in the next poll what you'd like to see improved. Please choose only 2 of these, your 2 most important ones. Then I'd like to know what you think Ridgecrest should be known for, and what's your top 3. Do we want to be the earthquake capital of the world? Do we want to be the secret city? Continue to be the secret city. A tourist mecca with a gateway to the Sierra Nevadas and the Desert Adventures. A great recreation and sports community. A high-tech magnet community. A retirement community. A refugee center, a marijuana agri-center, the Morongo of the high desert, a regional education center, or a beautiful, quaint, small town with good restaurants and entertainment. Top 3. Please. Now tell me your bottom 3. Same questions. Tell me your bottom 3. Now I'd like to know a little bit about how you want to live. Do you want to live in a place that has great local retail? Pick only the top 3 of these. Clean, healthy living. Diverse and organized recreational activities. Affordable and attractive spaces. A place that's friendly and hospitable. Accessible green spaces. Conservation of our resources, both water, vistas, our desert, our night skies, our clean air. Great public safety. Please, again, select the top 3. Mean something to you. So how can we build it? Building our future will take some resources. China Lake's reconstruction can help if we approach it right. But that's not going to be enough. We need to build our tax base. And to do this, we need to understand how we grew up. It's really important, I think, to understand this, that we grew up as a partnership between the Navy and Caltech in the early 40s during World War II. And as the base grew and the mission grew, people lived on the base, civilian scientists and engineers with our military counterparts, with their families, they all lived on base, all the way through the mid-80s. So all of the community infrastructure, our churches, our shopping centers, our banks, our police force, was all on base. In the 1970s, between 75 and say 85, the Navy got out of the housing business and people moved off base into Ridgecrest. Happened almost overnight. Ridgecrest was one of the fastest growing cities in the state of California, and the population of the valley wasn't changing one iota. So Ridgecrest didn't have time to respond. So we still lack today a lot of the infrastructure. A lot of infrastructure is still on the base. So how are we going to build that? How are we going to move to Ridgecrest? How are we going to help? Because high quality of life is still important to not only us in the community, but it's also important to the Navy mission on the base. The better our quality of life is, the better we can attract scientists and engineers that are going to support the mission, and the military that are going to support the mission in China Lake. So Ridgecrest continues to have a low budget, so it continues to be behind the power curve in providing infrastructure. So I have to ask, how are we going to build that? So, building our future, no matter what we decide, is going to take resources. I just said that Ridgecrest continues to be low in its annual budget, but I'd like to review how we get our property, how we get our taxes. Our major employers pay little property taxes. They have huge payrolls, but they have paid little property taxes. Our retail sales tax are hidden by e-tail. The quantity of retail sales tax that comes into Ridgecrest is based on our storefront sales in town. So if we increased our storefront sales in town, we would increase our e-tail percentage that the county gets. Our transit occupancy tax that the hotels generate for us by our transient visitors that come into town is going to be increasing during the construction, but it's not going to be enough. Yes, the China Lake construction is going to help, but it's not going to be enough. It's a huge bonus that we can build from. And it's going to give us a laboratory that is the most modern in the nation, which in itself is going to be an asset and attractor for the community. But I have to ask, we're going to need more resources, and how are we going to get that? I think we need to build our tax base. We need to become very tax-base oriented. Focused. That means everything that we do, we should really look at long-term building of our tax base, whether it's property tax, it's retail, sales tax, or whatever. But we all need to have a mindset towards that end so that we can continue to grow over the long haul. This does not mean that we have to increase our individual taxes. What it means is we have to increase the commerce and industry in the area. We have to increase our storefront properties so we can generate more sales tax and get more of that e-tail percentage of the taxes that are paid through electronic commerce. We need to grow our housing. We need to grow our business space, so that we can increase our property taxes. There's going to be a local investment of $4 billion. This is going to attract investors. Investors were already interested in this community of Ridgecrest before the earthquakes. But now that the Navy is going to spend $4 billion to rebuild China Lake, it is a huge statement about the future of Ridgecrest and how our U.S. Navy sees the future of Ridgecrest. And investors are not just ignoring that statement. So there's a lot of money out there that people are interested in spending in Ridgecrest. What we've got to do is become very friendly to those investors to help them spend their money here in Ridgecrest. So I'd like to ask you, what do you think we need to do to build our resource base, to build our future? So there's a couple more questions that I want you to answer in your polling. The first one is, do you think that we need to strengthen our tax base? Are you happy with the way it is? I don't know how successful you thought the last tax was, measures V and L. Now those we voted for in 2012 and again in 2016 to increase our sales tax a little bit to support our police force and our roads, improve our roads. Measure L was from 2012 to 2017. It raised our sales tax 0.75%. Measure V went into place 2016, a few years ago, and it'll continue through 2024, and it raised our sales tax 1%. I'd like to know how successful you think this tax was, because it did augment our general fund in the area of public safety and in road improvements. So please, let me know your answer to that. Again, for Measure L and V, I'd like to know how you thought they were managed. And then I'd like to ask you, what do you think are the two most important factors in the administration of these kind of taxes? And And then I'd like to know what you think about how do we build our tax base. Do we do nothing? Do we try to promote commerce, try to focus on the long ball? Do we just bank on hope with our fingers crossed that China Lake improvement is going to bring in a bunch of tax money for us and revenues for us? I want your thoughts. Because all the answers to these questions really are going to help us figure out not only what our future is, but how we're going to go about building it. Again, the poll's going to be open until 10 o'clock. So this really isn't a vision. It's kind of my statement about what I'd like to see the future of Ridgecrest have. I'd like to see a community where we're safe, where we continue to be friendly, where we're attractive, and we have adequate entertainment, and great recreational activities with good venues. I'd like to see effective government that provides great services. I'd like to see a town with comprehensive health care, with adequate shopping, and a diverse economic base where we have a lot of employment options. I think all of us need to be focused on providing, services and capabilities for our citizens so that we have a better quality of life. I think we need to be tax-base focused. That means we should really take the long haul and look at how we're building our tax base so that we can continue to increase the revenues in our city, so that we can provide the services and the functions that we want in the community. It doesn't come free. And I think we need to be service-oriented so that we understand what are the services that we want, whether they're health care, whether they're police or safety, but we understand what they are and what they cost. Then we need to start a dialogue that says, where do we go from here? We're not starting from scratch. I think Ridgecrest is already a great place to live. But as China Lake is improved and as it becomes the premier, most modern weapons laboratory technology center in the high desert and really in California or across the nation, that's a huge asset. It's a huge opportunity for us. If we don't improve the quality of life in Ridgecrest at the same time, then shame on us. But I do think it's going to take a dialogue amongst us all in the community. The EDC and the other organizations in town want to lead that dialogue, but we've got to hear from you. And once we understand what we want to be and where we're going, then we can really start focusing on how do we generate the resources and the capital that's going to build it. And that's all got to be done through transparent, open, honest dialogue. And it's going to be hard. But again, I want to encourage you to fill out the polls. I want to encourage you, whether you're just an individual or whether you're a business owner in Ridgecrest or part of the Ridgecrest local industry, to engage. We've got a huge opportunity in front of us, and it's going to take work from all of us to capture it, to make it the most for our whole community. But I do think after we're done, we're going to not only have a great modern Navy laboratory and test center on the other side of the fence, but we're going to have a great modern place to live that's really friendly and provides us the services and the things that we really want. So thank you very much. I look forward to the dialogue in the near future, and I really do hope that you are very proactive in helping us understand your views.